Hello and welcome back to P7. So today, as you guys know, we're talking about money laundering. We studied previously about international regulatory framework where we talked about the need for the standards, why do we need standards, what is the responsibility of public interest oversight board, and what are audit committees. We'll study more of these things hopefully later with a question. Okay, one more thing that I think I should explain to you guys before I move on is that this website is really beautiful. Thanks to Richard Clark, he has made this thing a really beautiful thing over here. Now, when I go down, as you can see, there is a quiz. I want you guys to maybe try to do the quiz, all right? And then there is an exam. I'll just go inside and show you what these things really are, so you'll get a good brief idea. Now, I'll just do one question with you and I'll show you how it works. At least one member of the audit committee should have what experience or skills? Should they have auditing experience or should they have financial experience? Yeah, of course, we know they should have financial experience. So I'm just going to click on this and abracadabra, yay, it's correct. Then we'll go to next. So I want you to do your question something like this, all right? Moving on, this is an exam question. Now don't reveal the answer, just read through this and you'll know what you have to do, what kind of questions can come from this part of the examination. Are we good? I don't really prefer you guys to do any questions right now because if you can see, please prepare a report presented with assess the benefits and drawbacks for MAC and audit committee. You get 4 marks for this, although it's not only about audit committee, it's about a lot of different things. So do not do these questions, but just go through these, just read it how it works. But later, once we have covered the whole section A, maybe, or maybe once we have covered the whole section A, we'll talk about this. All right. So having said that, I think I'm gonna stop and move on to money laundering, one of my favorite topics. Okay, let's talk about it. All right. So what is money laundering? We should be familiar with this idea because from where I belong, where I was born actually, our government did a lot of work on money laundering, not to decrease it, but to increase it because they used to launder money. And there is a person, he's a chartered accountant, he used to be the finance minister of our country. And I'm not going to disclose any names, but I'm pretty sure you guys know what I'm talking about if you have any idea of the politics going on in my country. Now, money laundering is a safe haven for people who want to take some money, any sort of black money, and turn it into clean money. Now, I do not recommend you guys to teach these things to people. A lot of people want to know these things, but please try not to tell these people, even though you don't want to brag about these things. Do not do that. Are we good? Now, money laundering, as this huge font word says, is creating the appearance that money obtained from crimes originated from a legitimate source. Now, basically, you earn some black money and you turn it into white money. Although that sounds very racist, I don't really bother because we're not in America, so we're good. Now, basically, the thing is, money laundering is what I used to call it to myself, that hey, if I never got to be a successful teacher or a successful accountant, I'm gonna start laundering money. You know, it's gonna be my part-time job. But of course, that was just a joke that I used to tell people. Now, this money laundering is basically illegal everywhere. It's considered to be one of the biggest crimes. If you're involved in it or if you have any sort of link with money laundering, you can get jailed for a very long period of time. You're not only helping people to make black money into clean money, instead you're also avoiding tax evasion and stuff, right? So try not to do this. As much as amazing it sounds, we'll just hope that we are not doing this. I'm sorry. I think Richard lost me here. Okay, Richard is the guy who created this website. The term is widely defined to include possessing, dealing with in any way. Okay, the thing is, money laundering could be either possessing all that black money that you have, or dealing with it in any way, if you know that you're dealing with a person who used to launder money, who launders money, or is giving you the money that is laundered, you are money laundering as well. Or concealing it. Your friend laundered 5 billion US dollars, comes to your house and say, can you keep a billion? You know, maybe you can keep half of it later, the rest of the half you can give it to me maybe a year later. And you say, yeah, sure, you know, why not? The next day you're buying a Lamborghini and you're surfing in the road. Try not to do those things, all right? Any sort of crime, anything that's touched with money laundering makes you illegal as well. So be careful. Now, what are the steps? Now, we study these things so that we can find out. People study these things to do it, so that's the difference between us. We are like a police. Police gets to know a lot of crime scenes. They know how these things work. The best criminals are police. If I'm not, I think I'm not remembering this correctly. If I'm not mistaken, there was this police officer who turned into a cannibal. Cannibal are people who eat human beings. He turned into a cannibal, and he used to skin people off back in the 1980s. I forgot his name. Anyway, if I find it, I'll maybe post one of you on Facebook. It's a very good read, actually. Once in a while, you know, why not? So money laundering usually consists of 3 steps: placement, layering, and integration. Now, if you follow these steps correctly, if you follow these steps in a way that nobody can find out, we'll have fun. I mean, we will have fun. We police officers or auditors will have fun with you. Okay, what is placement? I'm gonna spend some time with you guys here just to make sure you know what money laundering really is. Although I know you guys know what money laundering is, but I'm just gonna spend some time here explaining to you what these things are, because in the exam, they'll give you a question on money laundering, and then they'll ask you to find what are the steps. Placement, how did they do the placement, how did they do the layering, how did they do the integration and stuff, all right? So placement is putting illegal funds from the illegal activity into apparently legitimate business or activity. Now, you laundered some money. Let's say you robbed a bank, or you didn't rob a bank. Maybe a friend of yours robbed a bank and he gave you half the money just because, you know, why not? Or you're just an accountant sitting in your office and one person comes into your office and says, hey, listen to it. I've got $5 billion. I don't want anybody to know about this. I'm going to give you 20% of the cut. That's $1 billion if you shut your mouth and you help me out. And you will say, yes, I'm listening, sir. How may I help you? Now you're sitting over there. That guy offers you $1 billion US. What do you think I will do? Although ethical I am, I think I'm just going to pass on that matter and maybe take the money. You know, $1 billion, that's going to make me happy for the rest of my life. I think I'll be more than just happy. And I think, like, it's a Chinese proverb that says that everything has a price tag. It depends how much it's for. So yes, everything has a price, including me and you. Although how much you say that you're not, it's still fun. Just a second, excuse me. Okay, so placement is, now this guy tells you to do something. Like, now you have $5 billion. You suggest him a cash business, not any fancy business, a money laundering business that's supposed to, okay, I have 2 things in my mind, 2 examples. Either it's a car wash business, you wash cars for people, or you wash their clothes. Now, if you're washing their clothes, you are a laundry person. Now, how ironic is that? Money laundering and a laundry business. So you'd start a laundry business. Now, a laundry business is where people won't come and say, hey, do you accept credit cards? No. It's a long-term thing. I'm not even kidding with you. It's a very, very long term. If $5 billion, you're just going to get $100,000 or something. You will, okay, your accountant will overstate the sales, will overstate a few things to make sure he can chip in more money, but it will still take years and years and years to get the money done, right? And at this point, I would really prefer you guys to go and watch Breaking Bad. It's a thriller drama from United States, of course. It's a very beautiful show that describes a guy who is a chemistry teacher who starts making meth, crystal meth. I think it's very popular in Karachi nowadays. It just came in, I suppose. It will just melt your skin. It's that type of a drug. It's really, really dangerous, more dangerous than heroin. But yeah, so what happened with that show is that he started creating meth and he became a billionaire. He didn't even have time to count the money, right? So go through that and see how he used to launder the money. So you'll get an idea. But it's a very long shit series, so you'll pass your P7 exam just before you finish it. So yeah, good luck. Now, layering will involve transfers. Now, the accountant, a smart person, will suggest you, hey, you're doing a laundry business. You're laundering money inside of it, fine. But even though that money still can be traced, why don't you take all these and put it in an overseas fund? You maybe put it in Switzerland. Maybe you put it in Norway. Maybe you put it in England. You put it somewhere else. That is layering. From England, maybe it come back to your country whenever you need the money. Or you maybe have a pension fund in a different country. Anything that takes the money out from your country, where you laundered the money, where you are laundering the money, and you put it somewhere else, just where people cannot trace it. That's layering. Then you have integration. Integration will be involved in buying legitimate goods using the cash after the layering system. Now, once the layering thing is done, the money comes back to you. There's no way people can track that money. What happens? You're safe. You do not have to worry of a single thing anymore. That money is legal, so you buy something with that money. You buy, I don't know, you buy a laptop, you buy a mobile phone, you buy some furniture for your house, and you turn that money into an asset. Once it becomes an asset, people have no way of tracing that money down. That, people, is money laundering. Although easy as it may sound, it's really incredibly difficult to do, especially placement and layering. Integration, literally everyone can do that, but placement is actually the first step is always difficult. So starting a company where you got the money to start a company and stuff like that, that can be a little bit risky. So you need a partner to invest some money with you so it may seem legit. All right. Moving on to international efforts on money laundering. Now, terrorist financing. Okay, this is the first time I'm reading. I'm going to read it out. The Financial Action Task Force on Money Laundering, FATF. Okay, that just sounds very wrong. I'm sorry. Is an international body which sets standards and develops policies to combat money laundering and terrorist financing. Okay. Now, it says that there are 35 members or countries or territories that are a part of this association. The recommendation cover policies and stuff like that. So more specifically, it deals with the criminal offenses of money laundering, how to prevent the money laundering, what are the measures taken if you know a person is money laundering, and then there are international legal assistance given and everything. Okay, this part is actually a new part in the syllabus. I don't really think that's very important because it sounds pretty stupid to me, but okay. I'm nobody to judge, I don't really care, but I still like money laundering. It's one of my favorite topics in the P7 exam. What are the principal offenses in money laundering? There are common ones. Okay, I'll tell you another secret of the exam. If something has to do with a national thing like UK or Europe or European Union and England and stuff like that, if something like of a country, a very specific country comes in the exam, in your syllabus, it becomes very less important because the examiner, he's from basically England, of course, he's from UK, and he really doesn't want to do anything to, make the paper national. He want to make it international. He want to try to make it international. So Wait, principal offenses. Okay, you have, these are the offenses, all right? These are the things that will be a problem if you do not do them. So if you do not appoint a MLRO is a money laundering reporting officer. Now in your audit firm, if you're working in a good audit firm, you will have one guy who's just sitting in the office just watching movies and stuff for a very, very long time. You envy that guy, but that guy has a difficult job. He is a money laundering reporting officer. He does not do much job, but whenever his job comes, he needs to be very careful. These type of people will get death threats. Do you think people like you and I will go launder the money? No, we are nothing. We won't do things. There are people who do these things, and they are very, very bad people. They want to kill people. They can kill people for these things, right? So just make sure you have a money laundering reporting officer, all right? Not having a risk management procedure, internal control, complying with anti-money laundering legislation. So if you do not have that risk management procedure and you don't have those internal controls, like if you want to go for audit, when we are auditing, we'll talk about audit procedures. And one of the audit procedures, when you are when you're counting cash, if you go for, I don't know, money services business and you have a lot of cash that you need to count just to make sure that's enough and it's the same amount in the balance sheet. When you go to count it, right, you have to have 2 employees and 2 auditors, 2 audit people who go there, who count the money. Like one person will sit, 2 employees, all 4 of them will sit, all right? They'll count the money. Then the second one will count. And if anyone has to go for an emergency or anything at all, there still needs to be at least 3 people in that room counting the money, so they don't steal the money or anything bad happens. So yeah, that's a fun effect, Not verifying identity of all new clients. If you get a new client and you say, yeah, why not? Come, give me your money. You're in big trouble, mate. If they launder money and something bad happens to you or to them, and they find out, if any committee finds out that this is illegal stuff going on, and I don't want to talk about it, you're going to be in big trouble. Now, even if you have an ongoing client, you need to do a due diligence. Due diligence is really important, all right? We'll talk more about due diligence later in the subject. Failure to report a suspicion of money laundering. If you have a suspicion of a person money laundering, you need to report it, maybe to the government, maybe to your senior, but don't go and say, hey, I know what you're trying to do, mate, with an eyebrow up. No, you're not in a movie. You're not, I forgot that guy's name. Okay, there was recently, the movie came out last year, The Accountant, what's his name, the Batman guy. Yeah, don't be like that. He's stupid, he can kill people, he has so many guns. I don't even know what that point of that movie was, like accountants are criminals, they can kill people because you tip them off. No, I don't know. Anyway, tipping them off is the 6th thing. Tipping them off meaning that you don't make them suspicious. Now, you say when a person commits a crime, now I'm not talking about a crime of killing people or money laundering, I'm talking about a very small thing. Let's say you broke a glass in your house. Now, your mom, okay, your mom is actually Sherlock Holmes. She is one of the biggest detectives of all times. She's the best detective of all time. Now, tipping off is basically walking around. You're like 4 or 5 siblings in the house, right? Then there are about 8 people in the house. And you're just walking around. You broke the glass. Your mom's looking at everybody. She knows somebody broke the glass. You do not want to. Now she knows that she won't come to you and say, hey, I think I know you broke the glass. You're in trouble, mate. And you're going to say, no, I didn't. No, I didn't. But inside you're scared. Now, your mom won't do that. She'll wait. She'll wait for a long time. I mean, not very long, of course, it's just a glass of water. It's just a glass, right? She will wait. She will wait for the right time. And then she'll start querying people. She'll go to this youngest one. Hey, there's a glass broken. See, my finger is cut from here. Said, yeah, the last time I saw was this guy using the glass. And then you come into play. And then your mom comes to you and say, yes, I have evidence supporting that you broke the glass. And then you'll be like, what? What's going on here? And if she's confident, you will give in, because you know that you are, you did something wrong. Same thing with tipping off. So why don't you want to tip off your client is basically because if you know a director is actually money laundering, he will run away. He doesn't care. He's already laundering money. If you tip him off, if you tell him something, or if you make him feel uncomfortable around you in a way that he realizes, okay, these people know what's going on, you are going to be in a really big trouble. They have explained what tipping off over here is actually. So go through that, see how it works. It won't be difficult. It's fun to read, I think. All partners are potentially liable on a joint and several basis for breaches of the firm's obligation. Now, you have to, okay, defenses to money laundering offenses include you report to MLRO, money laundering reporting officer. If sitting over there, you need to tell him. If you know something happens, say, dude, there's some unusual things going on in the company. Can you look at this? I think they're laundering money. And you'll be like, and that guy will be like, yeah, let's see. Let me finish this movie first. And maybe it's too late back then. But in your defense, you already told the MLRO, so he's in trouble. His ass is on the line now. So yeah, you're good. You're good. You're intending to report, but there's a reasonable excuse for not doing so. Maybe you're too fearful. Maybe you know that you want to report, you have the right reasons not to. Your family is in danger. Maybe your sister is working in that company, or your siblings, or anybody is working in that company who are involved in that. Right? We thought the client's actions were in good faith. And it's a reasonable assumption. You've been auditing this client for the past 25 years. One bad apple doesn't make the whole bucket bad, right? Bucket? Do we call it bucket? No, we call it a crate, right? I don't know what we call a pack of apples. Lots of apples. I don't know. But that's a reasonable assumption. Why? Because you believe this client you've been auditing it for a long time. You know these people. They've been auditing you they've been your client for a very long time. So it won't sound very nice to start doubting and judging them all of a sudden. It's not your ex-wife we're talking about. Talking about ethical frameworks. Now, what's the current issue? Is ethical framework better than rules? Now we're talking about totally different things, okay? You think ethics are better than rules? Now, you guys studied P1, you tell me. It's a very P1 kind of a thing, right? I'm gonna give you a second. I'm sorry. Okay, so ethics basically are not rules. They're a framework that you need to follow, that you should follow, not need to. You should follow them, right? You shouldn't lie. That's a frame. That's an ethical thing to do. You shouldn't steal. Have we been told not to lie in our religion? Does it say that you are never supposed to lie? No matter if it kills you, if it's no matter what happens, you're not supposed to lie. No, it doesn't say that. It said you should not lie. You should not commit murder. Yeah, self-defense is there, but don't say that, hey, God told me not to commit murder. He didn't say don't do it. He said you shouldn't do it. Actually, that's not even correct, but it says that you mustn't do it. But rules are basically American stuff, right? Sarbanes-Oxley Act 2001. SOX, that we used to call it. And then ethical framework is your basically IFAC Code of Ethics. That's from England. What do you prefer? Now, why do you think framework is better? Because if you make rules, how many rules can you even make? How many rules can you make? If our religion or any religion was based on rules, they would have bazillions of different rules inside of them. But lucky for us, we have a religion that is based on framework. Do not do this. Do not offend people. Now, if it started saying, don't offend your neighbors, your friends' friends, people on Facebook, people whom you're going to comment on, reply to their comments. No, it just says do not offend people. Don't make them feel sad. Don't say something that hurts them, right? Keep a good relation with your people. That's saying of the Prophet, peace be upon him. Now, simple as that. Now we know we are not supposed to make people uncomfortable around us. Don't speak when you're sitting in a pack, when you're a lot of people, you're sitting in When you're a lot of people there, don't whisper in your friend's ear. Simple. Now, that's the simplest thing you can think of, right? No matter what happened, you're not supposed to do that. And you're not supposed, and that in a modern sense also means that don't text when you're sitting around them. That's very rude. They're talking to you, they're looking at you, and you're just showing them your hair, and you, because your hair is, your face is bent down and you're looking at your phone. So these are few things. There are few reasons why framework is better. It can be different for every situation, right? If you give rules, rules are not very nice, and people feel bound to things. And if people feel bound, they feel like they're in prison, and if they feel like they're in prison, they'll do a lot of ugly things. So try not to do that. Yeah. Accountants do have a money laundering obligation. So these are the following things that will prevent the organization being used for money laundering purposes. Establish a top-down anti-money laundering culture. From top, the CEO of the company himself should not launder the money and should try to give awareness to all the people around him not to launder the money. And it keeps going down, right? You have a risk management, there's a risk committee that you can have, internal auditors. Why there are internal auditors in every bank, in every branch? For these reasons, they're not sitting there just for fun. You appoint an MLRO, it can be on an auditing basis, it can be on a company basis as well. You keep all the records in the systems with all the transactions to make sure everything is fine. You monitor your client's identities, and when I say client identity, it doesn't mean that I'm an auditor and I'm talking about my client. I'm talking about my client's client. They need to have a good identity as well. Have internal suspicion reporting procedure. If you have any suspicions going on, you need to have a reporting procedure, and you need to educate all the staff. Now, okay, this thing doesn't really work anymore, because people, if you tip anybody, you can tip anybody off. You don't know how many people are involved in money laundering as a whole, right? Now, that's one of the reasons why a lot of people are scared of their lives because you go to your director, maybe you are working as an accounts manager, and you go to the finance manager or someone and you say that, sir, I think something wrong is going on in the accounts. Hey, please have a look at this. And he'll say, shut the hell up, or there will be consequences. I'm trying to do a good thing over here, mate. You're in trouble now. Now you are scared of your life, your family's life. You can't resign, because if you think you'll resign, people, they're gonna do some ugly things to you. You don't want to do that, no, do you? That's the reason people don't really report anymore. People know things are bad, but they're too scared. Not even about losing their job, but about losing their lives. Because a life doesn't even have much worth anymore. To tell you a funny story, okay, we still have some time. Okay, good. To tell you a funny story, it's not a story, it's a real thing actually. There is something on the internet called the deep web. It's called deep web. As you can go there, deep web. You can access this from here. Basically, you can see there's the surface web. I don't even know why I'm teaching you all this, but this is the surface web. This is what we use, and this is the deep web. Huge stuff, huge stuff. There are illegal things there that can be sold, and there can be tons and different things. Now, why I'm telling you this is because there is a section of deep web. There are few websites, very big websites that I've been through myself, that involve people telling the name of the company, telling the name of the people, disclosing literally everything, including the accounts, all the evidence, and putting that on the website and saying that these people are doing money laundering or doing illegal activities. That's whistleblowing. It's a whistleblowing website. Now, beautiful thing about deep web is that it's anonymous. You have to download a software called Tor, T-O-R. You can go to deep web. Do not do that. If you get traced down by the government, they will put you in jail. It's a criminal offense. Because you go anonymous, there is child pornography, and there are very ugly things on the deep web. So do not go on the deep web. Never go on the deep web. If you know what you're doing, if you're an IT expert, please go ahead, have your fun. But do not even try to go there. It sounds fun, it sounds very thrilling, but it's not. If the police come knocking at your door, you are in big trouble. So do not do that. I'm telling you this because you have a very good reason of money laundering. I'm sorry, of reporting money laundering now, because you can say the name of the company and everything, and then police will go to those websites. I don't know about my country, but a lot of other countries, police will usually go to those websites and see the name of the company and how it's going, and they can have their own investigation. If you're lucky, they will catch those people without your name coming in of it. So you are a hero, and you don't wear a cape. Pretty cool, huh? There are some what some MLRO, what are the responsibilities. I want you to read it through, because it's not really important, and I don't really think I need to teach you guys all this. Now you have important of customer due diligence. Why should you have a due diligence? Because you don't want to know what things are. So here's something: client acceptance procedure. You need to know your clients, like what do they do, their passports, their company's registration number, their business models, where the money is coming from. Number 5 is the most important, where the money is coming from. Your client could be anybody. Taliban could be your client, but where the money is coming from, that's the big part, all right? As you can see, there is no quiz, there is no examination. So this part actually isn't really something that you should be worrying about that comes into your account. It's gonna come. No, I don't think so. Professional accountants must report money laundering to appropriate authorities. I'm an accountant. Where should I report the money? For example, the MLRO or the police, or go public. I can go public. I have to, if I have to, right? If it's a criminal offense if you don't do it, and you better not tip off people. They'll run away. When you're about to catch a hen, let's say you go to a village and you see there is a hen that you need to catch. I was a kid. I think I was about 7 years old when I had my first visit to a village, and it was amazing. You know, it was so cool. There were hens there all over, and there were so many things there. And I wanted to catch a hen, you know, and when I was just behind it, and I jumped on it, and I said something. I don't know what I said. I said something, and it ran away. The hen just ran away, and I broke my tooth, because I jumped and there was some rock something on there, and I broke my tooth, and it hurt. What happened? I tipped it off. I tipped off the chicken. Instead, if I would have just gone quietly, I would have a basket or something, I would have thrown it on him, bam, got the chicken. I'm gonna roast it now, but I couldn't. You know, I was too young and I didn't know about tipping off is. Now I know what tipping off is, and now I don't have hens here. So yeah, you get the idea. Life sucks, right? Anyway, an external report should be made to the authorities, telling them what's happening, how it's happening, and if you really know what's happening, you resign from the company, because of it's in your commercial interest. Because if anybody gets to know that you're dealing with people who launder money, you have a bad image, and it's professionally and ethically your responsibility. All right. Okay, what are the suspicious transactions? Large cash deposits suddenly coming in. You're selling for $100, a thing for $100, $120, and suddenly you sell a thing for $1 million. And you're like, what? How? Where's that money coming from? I recently had this client who used to take $3 million. I audited this client a month ago. I'm not even kidding with you. They had $3 million of dividends coming in their account. I was like, that is physically impossible. Which company will give you $3 million of dividends? And I reported that to my audit partner, and we had a long talk about it and everything, and we took all the documents necessary to make sure the money is coming in the bank, where it came from. We traced this down, and actually it was coming from one of the steel mills. And pretty cool, you know, $3 million. Amazing stuff. I never had any money laundering client before, to be honest. I've audited for a very long time, and I'm not even kidding you. I never had any chance of finding people who are laundering money. I had one suspicion, but my audit manager, at that time I was a junior, my audit manager didn't agree with me on that matter. So I'm just going to assume nothing was there, or maybe my audit manager was involved in it. Hopefully it's not the latter. So MLRO is responsible for a few things. I don't want to read about MLRO. Please, guys, read it for me. And should you have any questions, I am more than happy to address them. So these are the ACCA fact sheet on money laundering. The offenses, what are the offenses? This is like a summary of whatever we studied today. What's the risk-based approach? What are the reporting? What is the MLRO? Learn more on the list. If you want to have a full list, good luck with that. Read it if you want to read it. But again, it's not important. If you want to read it, go ahead with it. But again, it's nothing. It's just a summary. Okay, if you want to have this summary with you, why not? Why not, right? Anyway, having said that, I'm gonna stop recording now. This would be the end of my lecture. I hope you guys understood something. I hope you guys has fun, and I would be more than happy to welcome your questions from now on. So thank you very much, and I hope you guys have a great day ahead.